help over the top.
Do you think Harrison Smith's going to do that, or do you think
Yeah, I think
Mr.
it's going to be
Sendejo?
Harry. No,
Okay.
I think it's going to be Harry doing the helping out. Sendejo should see a lot more time on the field too, but it's going to be Harry.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Jay brought this up in a question. Kirk Cousins is receiving much more love over the past few weeks. Um, Talk about his growth since you've seen since week one with this in his game over this season, both on the field and as a leader off the field.
Well, I think we'll start with the leadership off the field, and it's the thing I thought was terrible that he did, but it seems to be working out when he apologized on the podcast to Diggs that he wasn't looking for him enough. At first, I thought that's crazy. What are you doing? This is your team. That's not how you work. But then I thought, and it's like, no, actually, that's what Kirk Cousins is. He's the dad jokes guy. So his way is to just kind of take the kids aside and say, "Hey, listen, I'm sorry I haven't been giving you my time lately. Let's go out and grab a burger and throw the ball around," kind of thing. So his leadership is different than I've ever seen, but it works for him, and he is kind of like he's bringing the team together. He's bringing all these players in and making a team out of them in his own way. And as far as on the field goes, I just think he's more confident now. I think his offensive line is starting to gel, and he hasn't had that in a while. He didn't have it for his whole first year with the Vikings. His offensive line was trash. Now they're good. He's got a fullback back there who can protect him, and he's got a lot of weapons. They added Irv Jr. at tight end, and he's starting to see more targets. Kyle Rudolph, it's December, so Rudolph's going to shine in December. Rudolph has been a bigger part of the passing game now. Diggs, when he's not fumbling and dropping passes, is really good. It's amazing at some of the stuff I've seen him drop, and then I'll watch him, make those sideline grabs like he did last week against the Chargers.
Yeah.
The one grab where he managed to get his feet down. He's got phenomenal talent. I think sometimes he just has a concentration breakdown. So
he's looking for the next step in the big play rather than trying to just take care of the ball.
Yeah, but he's getting even better with that because if you noticed, a couple weeks ago he fumbled off of a big play, and after that he's been really good at protecting when he realizes there's nothing left, where he's covering up and he's going down. So he's starting to learn, and I like to see that. I think just Kirk has got more confidence in the people in front of him, and that is turning into a better Kirk Cousins. And Stefanski is calling some really great schemes for him. He's gotten, Cook has been involved in that passing game. All the running backs out there, they're throwing a lot more screen passes to kind of slow that rush a little bit. I like what Stefanski has done to help Kirk Cousins.
Well, you know what? Going off that, there's a matchup that I am ready to watch because I know in week 2, like we mentioned on the NFC North Roundtable, JB, was Garrett Bradbury, the rookie, kind of went through the gauntlet in the beginning of the season with a bunch of these really good defensive tackles. Well, here he is again. He gets Kenny Clark, and Kenny Clark has been killing it these past 3 games now that he's fully healthy.
Yeah.
These last 3 games, he's had 15 tackles, 5 tackles for losses, 4.5 sacks, and that's just on 3- and 4-man rushes. So, I mean, he's just been killing it. I don't know if he's just found a resurgence this season, or like I said, maybe it's the getting healthy at the right time.
Healthy,
but yeah, and that's the thing. And Bradbury's been playing steadily as of late. Like he's holding his anchor point. He's doing well, and he's not getting beat like he was earlier in the season. But Clark was one of those defensive tackles that kind of put on that gauntlet for Bradbury. I think that's a really underrated matchup of this game because one thing I noticed about Kirk, if you get pressure up the middle quick on him,
he's done. Yeah, up the middle, that is his weak point. He can handle the edge pressure. When you come straight at him up the middle, there's nothing he can do. And there really aren't too many quarterbacks in this league who, when they get pressured up the middle, can escape it and do it.
That has been the reason why the defensive tackle has made a resurgence, because these teams are specifically looking for defensive tackles that can now pass rush because it's the Tom Brady effect. The only way to really affect Tom Brady's game all these years was to be able to get pressure so that he is not able to step up and deliver in the pocket the way he wants to. You're making him have to step up but move right or left, which actually kind of cuts the field down because of, just rules and how quarterbacks and they're taught, right? So, yeah, I mean, we saw it against the Chargers and against the 49ers game. They got pressure up the middle. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is mobile. Even he can't. I mean, you know what I mean? And we
there's nowhere to escape.
Right. There's just, it's hard to go anywhere when there's a 300+ pound dude in your face, in your lap,
That's right.
That's a bad thing for any quarterback regardless. So, I mean, Kurt, we can't pick on him for that because that's something no quarterback wants to deal with, period. I don't care how mobile you are. That's the one area you do not want pressure. You don't want your center giving up pressure right up the middle on a consistent basis. That being said, though, we did talk about it in our first matchup show, JB, that Bradbury was going to struggle, but that was a good thing for this team in offensive line because of a rookie. Mm-hmm. You would rather have him get his ass whooped, excuse my language, for the first 4 weeks of the season and learn some really tough lessons early that can help him out later than have him go through this up and down season where he never quite figures it out and you get some concerns. He had a first 4 weeks of it was rough. And I remember a lot of people questioning whether that was a good pick. It happened exactly what we thought, JB. I mean, we all called it on this show. He turned it around, and he has been a very stellar and solid, more than solid center in this league as a rookie. He's been very impressive. So, I mean, to give some credit there. It was forecasted right here on First and Goal with you in week 2.
I never doubted him. I told you guys, when I did my mock, I did a mock draft and I had to take the Vikings. Bradbury was my pick. I watched tape of him when he was in college. He's a smart kid. He's got good technique. All he needed to do was learn, and he has learned on the job, and he's learned very well. So I'm thrilled with this kid.
With that being said, over under, does Kenny Clark get to Kirk Cousins on some hits and a sack?
I think he can because I think Bradbury's nursing an injury. I think it's an ankle.
I did not know that.
No, I think he's got a little, and I don't know how severe it is, but I think last week he was nursing an injury too out there. Thought I'd heard that, so I'd have to take
an ankle sprain that it's a heavy taped ankle situation. Oof, he can play, but he's lost a little bit of that
mobility's not there.
Right. He's go backwards, but his side to side is having a little trouble when he's got to move to that side, that ankle. But it's not severe.
No, but it's still enough, especially you want your,
guy,
it's still enough against guys like Kenny Clark, basically, who's playing on fire right now. And like we just said, he's healthy. So, and a healthy Kenny Clark is always a problem. So, I mean, in that aspect, JB, I expect the Packers to come out and actually drop 7 or 8 in coverage because you guys got Thielen, Diggs, Rudolph, Irv Smith, Bissy Johnson. I mean, you guys got weapons galore out there, and I feel like if you drop 7 or 8 in coverage, you're gonna but just rush 3 or 4. I mean, with their rushers they got on the field, and I watched this last week with the Packers against the Bears. They actually had Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary on the outside across from Preston, and they had Zadarius Smith and Kenny Clark all on the same front. But they didn't blitz; they just dropped everyone else back. And I feel like they might see that again because. I mean, and that's the thing. We saw Mike Boone have a decent game to a good game last week. But the thing is, it's not Dalvin Cook or Madison. So I feel like they're going to challenge the Vikings, hey, run it at us, or else we're just going to keep dropping everyone back.
Yeah, and I that's a great strategy. That's a great strategy. You've got really an unproven Mike Boone back there. Abdullah, again, he's not anybody to be scared of. So that's a great strategy, and we'd have to see how the Vikings adjust to that. Maybe Boone comes out and he runs hard and he's picking up 4 or 5 at a pop, and they have to, get up on the line of scrimmage for a bit. But, yeah, that's the greatest way to start out if you're the Packers, to drop 7 in the coverage.
I will say this. I don't think that Cook being out is being talked about enough. I don't think and I'm not saying this because JB that I'm like, oh my God, that I can't believe they're favorites because he's out. I just think that people are not noticing and giving Cook enough respect, and here's why. I think it's because the narrative, and I still watch tape, and it's getting better, but there's still signs of that same narrative I have in those 4-minute second quarter, 4-minute at the end of the game situations, but he's getting better. And the attention's been so focused on Kurt, it kind of both positive and negative, it's overshadowing how damn good Dalvin Cook is. Like, he terrifies me, and I honestly don't believe, JB, that even though they won that Week 2 matchup, that they were going to go in with him, if he would have been healthy, and not try to have some sort of game plan, which they normally do not do in a Pettine scheme. Because if you allow Dalvin Cook to get 120-plus yards like he did with the way Kirk and everything else is going, you're not winning this game. Okay? Like, he's that good of a back, and I think I want to just iterate that enough, even though I'm a Packers guy, and it's like he is a very, very good back who is not getting enough credit or attention because of the overshadowing of who his quarterback is. He's just not getting the credit for being as good as he is and as dynamic and dangerous, and the fact you really have to know what they're doing and how they're using him and be prepared for him to go off at any point.
Yeah, and he can. He's another one of those guys. You can contain him for 10 carries, and then he's going to pop one. Or if he's not getting the yards on the ground, they're going to throw a screen pass, and he's going to pick up 20, 25 yards on that. So we saw
Week 2. Yeah. We saw Week 2. There was 9 carries, and then literally the next play, poof, 75-yard touchdown.
Yeah, and then he can do that. And in all honesty, I was upset with the way they lost the first game because they were running the ball down the Packers' throat. They got to the 8-yard line, and they decided it was time to throw. Yeah. I would have just stuck with the ground game until they stopped it.
Him and Aaron Jones are very similar, but Cook has that extra gear Jones doesn't. But they both,
Cook also has about 30 pounds on him.
Well, but I guess my point here is that they both have this nose for the end zone that it's an unteachable trait that you either have or don't as a running back. There's certain guys that they don't give them the ball inside the 20 because they're good 20 to 20, but inside that red zone, they don't have
an instinct. Yeah, right. Guys, can you give me 2 seconds? I gotta let the dog out. He's jumping at the door.
Actually, that's a good time. You got a couple minutes.
Go ahead and take a break.
Our first break.
All right, great.
And if you haven't had enough of our banter tonight, you want to visit NFL Addictions on Facebook.com for all of your NFL banter and chatter. It's not a trash talk site, so keep it clean and keep it cordial. That's NFL Addictions on Facebook.com. And if you still got an itch to scratch when you're done with that, you want to visit Raz Addictions on Facebook.com for their version of the raffle for all kinds of cool prizes, even a chance at winning some cash. You buy a $10 raffle ticket for a chance at winning $100. That's a chance at making 10 times your money. It don't get any better than that. That's Raz Addictions on Facebook.com for a chance at all kinds of cool prizes. Tell them what you've won, Dave.
I've won everything from tailgating barbecue sets. That I have a Packers one that I won, folks, for $400. I put $40 down on the spot. I won it, and it was out of 20 spots. It's really worth it. I've also won helmets that are signed. I've won banners that are signed. I've won memorabilia rings. I've won footballs that are signed and other Packers knickknacks because that's my team. But go ahead and check them out. Cheap, affordable prices for certified, authentic stuff.
That's Raz Addictions on Facebook.com. Go there, play, and win. And as always, you can follow us on Twitter at First and Goal Pod, myself at UPJ33, Dave is at Steak and Cheese, and the fantasy wonder himself, Dylan, at Dylan Busby1. Email us at firstandgoalpodcast@yahoo.com with all your football and Packer questions and comments, and you just might find yourself making the show live. That's firstandgoalpodcast@yahoo.com.